So we just wrapped up our Sunday night call for our starter group. If you're interested in that, you can check the links down below. But there's something that's very important from this, and it's that we have to be responsible as men for the different tragedies that have happened in our life. And you might not want to hear that now, but in judging from what we've gotten from our group, it's a huge, huge anthem that we have. And when we're talking about this goes into protective orders, guys getting screwed, not being able to see their kids. I didn't get to see my kids for 5 years, was able to come back and reverse it legally. There's guys that are going through horrific things. And the last thing that you ever want to hear in a custody case is that you have to be responsible for something when you have been one of the ultimate victims, when there's been lying, deceit, being attacked, corruption, all these things coming your way. And they're real. But here's one of the grand problems in this, is that if you come to my groups, and it was for our custody groups, if you come to my groups, we want to help you win your case. We understand that there is corruption. We understand that there is the most massive amount of unfairness that you could ever think of in your life, from judges, lawyers, the whole system, your ex, cops, police reports, DCFS, CPS reports working against you. We understand that. We want to show you how to defend it. And the other thing, too, is that you can learn to defend it. If you get in too deep, if you have too many judgments or rulings against you, you might be too screwed, and we could prevent it from getting you more screwed. But in order to reverse my protective order, which actually never got reversed, but in order to get admitted as a mistake, 3 or 5 or whatever years it was after it had already run out, it was a very, very hard process. There wasn't a lot of justice in that. You have to be able to work within a system, whether it's broken or not. If lawyers are all horrible people and you still need one, which they're not all horrible, you still need a lawyer. You still need to go to court. You still need to go in front of a judge. You need to learn how to do that. But in this whole process, especially if you go through it the way that we suggest to go through it, there's another story that comes into play. And this was big because one of our old school guys, Bill, was on, and he has one of the most hardcore screwed up stories and one of the best examples of what a father is. And it's a true tragedy, a true horror story that he went through. And what he always preaches is that we have to continue to seek wisdom. We have to go back to being a rational person. We have to go back to understanding our emotions, our part in things, and how we come back to something good. Because a long time ago, the courts were changed due to women being abused, and they were. Stop saying they weren't. It shouldn't be about is feminism bad or good. And now it gets exploited. It's terrible. But we as men should learn from that rather than demanding the same exact thing back. A reactionary decision for fathers to get their rights and so on. We need fathers' rights, but as men, from the greatest part of men. We need fathers' rights that aren't built off of reactions and off of your pain. We need fathers' rights to stop tragedies from happening, but when we come in to start redesigning the laws, it needs to come from men who have good lives. And this is going to take multiple generations. Because if you're going through this now, it's going to take time for you to rebuild your life, to make it good, to start picking better partners, to start being able to screen better for women, and to take it seriously, to build families in the right way. Or if you decide to never get married again, never have relationships again, and whatever it is. I'm not trying to promote any certain style of life other than you be in control of your life. And that doesn't just take money, power, and success. It takes your mind. It takes working with other men on how to make it good. This is so vitally important, so massively important. And the only way that we can get wisdom, and I define wisdom, is knowledge plus experience and intention. Because you can have a lot of knowledge, you can have a lot of information, but if you have no experience, it has no point of reference, no context, no anything to it. If you just have experience without knowledge, or just with knowledge without any intention, it could go in all sorts of different areas. But it has to have the intention and direction of where you want to take it. Why? Because wisdom takes a long time to form. It takes a lot of experience, a lot of action, a lot of information, and time. A lot of that in order to form. This is going to take time, guys, but you can build it. If you want to make money, let's make money, but have intention with it. Have real goals. Have other men to check you with it. If you want to have more relationships, if you want to have a certain type of sex life or check out the bucket list of whatever stuff, be wise in it. Don't just be immature in it. If you want to build another family, inventory yourself on the rights and wrong. The greatest thing about custody battles, divorce situations, is men get the opportunity to rebuild their lives. But I see men rebuilding their lives based off of what other influencers, coaches, whatever you want to call it, say is the solution, but it is unchecked. It is unworked, meaning that this is a huge critique of mine in the whole coaching industry out there, or men's information. I love that more information is being spread out there. I love that people are talking about the injustices. But what I don't love is that these guys who are posting these messages out there aren't working with men. I'm working with men from start to finish on this, from the beginning of this point of pain that motivates change all the way until they build that, get past it, and start moving on to the rest of their lives. This is my whole life. And from that, the message, the path is very different than I see it promoted. I think it's very important we as men start to look at who we are. Now, because of this, I'll talk about this more in the next couple of weeks or months or whenever the different videos get released. But I spent a lot of time with a former coach friend of mine, or a coach. He still coaches, but he's been doing it longer than me, which is rare. And he emphasized to me, he's like, look, man, you have so much built out. I want you to share it. You need to. You have to start pressing harder. You have to start looking more at the public eye for this. And because one of the things with me is I spend so much time with my groups. I get exhausted with it, all these different things. And so I'm really committed, at least right now, this is the workload, it's pretty hard to do, is to start sharing the different things that we have for men who have gone through this, who've gone through divorce and a custody battle. I usually keep a lot of this stuff private in terms of rebuilding your life, out of social media and so on, at least for the last 5 years. But there's a lot of stuff the guys have been doing, and I want you guys to look at it. I want you guys to look at how to have the power to really reclaim your life from this. So lots of good stuff. It's an amazing call. I just wanted to share a little bit with it from you guys. On Sundays, at least right now, the schedules are changing because there's so many different calls, but we have 2, 4, 4.5, plus 6. So we have over 10.5 hours of calls on Sunday currently for our different groups to give you support, to go through your case, to go through the different emotions of this, and to guide you to something good. It's great stuff that we're doing here. And I want it to be more available to the guys who can't afford to be in my groups. But if you do want that easier solution, man, check out the links in the profile or show notes or whatever you want to call it down below. And check out the Rising Man. You'll talk to me personally, but more importantly, you'll talk to other guys in the group who will have your back. And they've been through it. You're going into a tough situation. Let's have some tough guys who've been on the other side to get you out of it. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.